Welcome back, friendos. Today, we're looking at some Kickstarter MMOs, because of course, this is something I personally love to do. We're not going to look at this, because they're apparently just creating pins for Final Fantasy XIV, cool. Or this, because I'm fairly sure I covered it at some point, or didn't care to. We're going to look at Uzum, a unique kind of MMORPG. I guarantee it will be. So in Uzum, you're not just a player, you are a creator of history. They've actually got a trailer, which is kind of rare, to be honest, with Kickstarter MMOs. Not going to listen to the music. Did that just say, did you ever dreamed? It did. Did you ever dreamed? Yes. Sort of, I guess. Did you ever dreamed? The age-old question. Of a quest so grand and perilous. No, you've lost me. I did never dreamed of this. Oh, it's I guess, sci-fi? Testing your strength. I've got to say, this is not the kind of trailer you want to use for a Kickstarter pitch. Just full stop. Testing your wit. When I think of Kickstarter trailers, what I think of is either make it so epic that people will just throw money at you, or at least show what kind of game you've got, which obviously testing your wit. There's a lot of wit in this one. It's a shame they didn't use the wit to make a better trailer. Testing your power, which is probably not unlimited. Here you go, he's got a shield. Cool. Oh my god, he's come down to help him. I've no clue what's going on here. Oh, what the why is this the most underwhelming? Bro, he just floated down from the heavens, and then he's just limp-dicked him. He's just pulled up to the hottest 10 out of 10 girl in the world you've ever seen, and he just pulled out just a limp noodle, just purely flaccid. It's been cooked for too long. Like, look at this. He just limp wrist throws some abilities at him. Like, Even that guy had more vigor when he was throwing it. And then a tasteful fade to black. It's up to you to create history. Yeah, I'm sure it is. Apparently, for the low price of $12,250. So they've got gameplay, actually, apparently. This is... What?
Have you ever wanted to immerse yourself in a game world where you have the power to shape its destiny? If so, then Uzum is the right game for you. Uzum is an MMORPG that puts the power...
Bruv. What the fuck is this interface? They've got like an adventure quest, like old 90s cartoony style resource bar. Then they've got this like... I assume that's what their interpretation of like a futuristic abilities bar. This is like Dreamworld levels of just taking assets that don't fit together at all and just banging them together. This is so incredibly out of place. I don't know how the fuck anyone thought this was a good idea to show people. I'm gonna just probably skip through this. Amazing frame rate. Just keep cutting to black. It's like a fucking Jason Bourne movie. Just like a jump cut every time a punch almost lands. Did they show anything else other than the... It's like they're looping the trailer. They are looping the trailer. Man, what the fuck? This is from Nervy Studios. Hey folks, with 4 Ys, like we're talking to a 16-year-old girl on MSN in 2003. So we're working on an RPG called Uzum, an MMORPG, with new concepts such as an isekai-style story, isekai being one of the worst genres of anime, an original combat system, and a new city creation system to create your own kingdom. The game's still in early dev, but we've already got a lot of ideas. There will be powerful mobs, twisted dungeons, a huge map, and lots of secrets to discover. We're sure that Uzum will provide an interesting gaming experience for all players. If you're interested in game development or just want to be part of an ambitious project, join us. We're looking for motivated creative people, but not necessarily developers or artists. Just motivated people who want to get involved. The fuck are you going to be doing then? Don't hesitate to join us, the Nervy Studio Discord, and take part in the creation of this, I hope, magnificent game. We look forward to welcoming you. Dreamers never give up. This game will be out sooner than you think. Yeah, I'm just going to completely disagree with that. Dreamers should give up. People always say this is like harsh advice or whatever, but if your dream is completely not rooted in reality, if it is a literal dream and you don't have the required skills or vision or whatever it's going to be that prevents you from doing it, you should give up, because then you should do something that's more in line with what you can actually do, instead of wasting your time and potentially other people's money, which is basically all Kickstarters for MMOs at this point. But we've got another one, Retro Runes. Embark on a magical MMO adventure, enter the world of Navaria, and become a legend in this epic MMORPG adventure. A mobile legend. They want $69,000. Perfect number. This doesn't have a trailer, so there's just a whole bunch of text in here. I always like to read the risks and challenges, though. So while they have a clear vision and path in place for Retro Runes, like any project, there are potential risks and challenges that we may face along the way. These include, but are not limited to, development challenges, developing a game's complex process that requires a lot of time, effort, and resources. There may be unexpected hurdles and technical issues that we may face during the development phase. Yeah, I mean, I've said this a million times, but MMOs are the hardest games to make. AAA studios can't even make them and have them be like smash hit successes. So the idea that random people on Kickstarter are going to do so essentially disqualifies 99.999% of people in the first place, even if they had the money. Because even if you have a good idea for something, it's all the parts fitting together that is the big problem. Amazon has all the money in the world. They couldn't make an MMO that, attracted people's attention for longer than a couple of weeks. They had talent in the studio. They had everything. It only takes one bad manager to ruin everything at this point. You can have bad creative direction. You could have bad financial direction. You could have just a bad choice of tech. It can be literally anything that can just completely ruin what could otherwise be a decent experience. So if you've got to nail all those things and make a good game, it's just not realistic at this point. Maybe in the future, but not for now. So time management, we're committed to delivering the best game possible, which means we are not willing to compromise on quality. However, this may mean that there are potential delays in the release of the game. Kind of like Chronicles of Valeria. Obviously, Caspian's not been willing to compromise on the quality of Chronicles of Valeria, and therefore Kingdoms of Valeria as well. So that means 8 years later, nobody's ever seen any gameplay. Star Citizen, we're coming up to 11 years of Star Citizen, and they're not compromising on quality either, despite the fact they've got $600 million and still haven't fully released the game that they promised would have been out in like 2013 or whatever it was. So this is a common Kickstarter promise, really. We're not going to compromise, so we might be a little bit over time, just a decade or so. Funding, while we've budgeted the project to the best of our abilities, there may be unforeseen costs that arise during development. We're committed to keeping our backers informed if there are any changes to our budget and how we plan to address them. So I already don't believe that this is going to be managed well. When you say you're going to deliver an MMO for $69,000 and you've got no gameplay trailer, which means if you've got nothing to show and you're starting from square one, what is $69,000 going to buy you? Because it might sound like to some people, obviously not adults, $69,000 is a decent sum of money. That's not even one developer in pretty much any decent-sized city in North America And then you have MMOs that fail that have hundreds of developers that are paid over 100 grand each per year. I just don't know why people keep posting MMOs on Kickstarter, other than to give me videos to make, just being the grandpa just shaking his fist at the sky. Why? Why do you keep doing this? So there might be changes to the game's mechanics, UI, or other in-game features due to balancing, it not being fun enough, and so on. And we always look at our feedback in order to make the game as great as possible. If there's game mechanics that the majority of the players dislike, we will take into consideration before releasing the full game. So funnily enough, this is actually the talking point that almost never gets addressed. I'm just going to bring this up, even though it's irrelevant to this video mostly. In like Web3 and cryptocurrency gaming, they never talk about balancing in those types of games, because obviously balancing, and this is the pitfall of doing anything related to real world economy and people's real money. If you sell people the idea of your video game is going to be an investment in a way, play to earn and things like that, true ownership of your digital assets, if something's really good and people buy it and then it gets nerfed, then you're literally just deleting people's money, which I don't know how that's supposed to work. Obviously, a company couldn't do that, because then those people who are willing to put large sums of money into the game quit because they're essentially having their money disrespected. And it also puts the impetus on anyone who gets anything that's really good to immediately sell it instead of holding on to it and using it in the game, because they know that eventually it's going to be nerfed and therefore would be worth less money. It also makes it really difficult to add content, because then if you fuck up the balancing of the game, you essentially ruin a whole bunch of people, potentially thousands, millions of people's money that could be in the sum of tens of millions of dollars. So it's actually really interesting that even people who are just posting Kickstarters with ridiculous premises in terms of funding and what they can deliver even understand why Web3 gaming, unless it's cosmetic only, almost can't work by definition of how a game is balanced. We plan to mitigate these risks and challenges by having a dedicated and experienced team for $69,000 that will be monitoring and addressing these issues as they arise. We will also keep our backers informed of any changes and updates to the project as they happen. Our goal is to ensure that Retro Ruins is released on time and exceeds expectations. So presumably their on time would be when, because he says estimated delivery December 2024. If you think you're making an MMO for 69 grand in a year and a half, you've told me all that I need to know about whatever you're trying. I don't even have to read anything about the game. This could be a 2D sprite-based game for all I know. And I know you're not developing that from the point of having no gameplay to show to being released in a year and a half on 69 grand. It's 3D, so definitely not doing that. Unless you've got massive amounts of funding already, in which case, one, why are you on Kickstarter? Two, why is there nothing to show before you went public? Anyone who had money to give you would have recommended against doing that in the first place. But yeah, that's, again, more games on Kickstarter for the MMO genre. I don't know when the last time I saw a competent Kickstarter pitch for an MMO. I think it was probably Titan Reach, which obviously that didn't go very well at all. If you want to check out my video on that, definitely feel free to do so, because it went really badly for a bunch of really fucked up reasons. Aside from that, everything that's been posted since is just kind of like, it doesn't show anything, it doesn't say anything. There's nothing to really bank on whatsoever. I'd never recommend backing an MMO on Kickstarter anyway. These are just like, they are just dreamers, and the dream has to die, unfortunately. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.